What's going on, YouTube? I am back with another video today, and today we're talking about an exercise that I just did with one of my students who was struggling to use their legs. I will demo that for you right now. Let's get you using your legs better. Let's get into it. So this student that I'm working with is really struggling to use their legs. Naturally, their swing looks like this. Their front side caves in when they're swinging, and they end up kind of sliding into the ball, swinging down on the golf ball because their left leg caves in and they're not utilizing the ground. So once I started telling them to utilize their legs, they got in their front side nicely, but what happens is they just start floating this left leg thinking that that's how they were utilizing the ground, trying to push off the ground in that form. So their swing ended up going from that first swing to looking like this. And they kept topping the ball and they kept floating their left leg up thinking they were utilizing the ground, but when in reality, they were actually just kind of lightly floating their left side and staying on their back leg. We don't want that. So essentially my student was coming off the golf ball when they were trying to utilize their legs by floating their left leg. They were getting into their front side. The issue was no matter what correction I gave them, they could not utilize the ground and they couldn't utilize their legs. So we kept going through different swing feels until we found the magic bullet that helped them. So if you are struggling to use your legs, try this swing drill out and see if it can help you utilize your legs better and get back to feeling a little bit more like an athlete in your golf swing versus feeling like you're super stiff and just focusing on technique. Start this drill without your club and without a ball. What I want you to do is set up like you are going to hit a golf ball. I want you to go through your swing of back, load, and then what I want you to do is swing and jump as if you were giving a high five to a person standing behind you. So essentially it looks like this. And give them a high five. Simple as that. I want you to repeat that process. Do it again. Give them a high five. Then try to get a little bit higher and more aggressive with it. What you are doing is really focusing on rotating your hips, which is then causing your legs to jump off the ground and move. That's why your legs are going like this. You're just fully rotating around. You're turning with it. So now, let's do the exact same thing, but shorten it up a little bit. So now, when you have that feel, instead of jumping 180 and giving a high five to the person behind you, boom, I want you to jump, do the same rotation, but give a high five to the person in front of you. So same thing. Essentially what we're reinforcing is your legs actually moving and acting more as a jump. If I told you to jump, you're going to naturally load and jump up. But in the golf swing, when you try to jump, it's very easy instead of rotating to either A, just jump straight up, which loses this piece of rotation, or B, you end up trying to focus on just jumping this front leg and coasting. So sometimes we have to bring it back to feeling like a jump, but it's not a jump because you're jumping vertically. It's a jump because you're rotating your pelvis so fast that it actually causes your legs to move and rotate. The rotation comes from here, causing the rotation and causing the legs to actually move and utilize the ground versus up. So I could sit here and jump like this all day long, or I could sit here and rotate fast to actually get my hips moving. Now this is another example of what I want you to do. So once you get this nailed, version 1 of the drill is all the way around high five. Version 2, all the way around here high five. Now I want you to do what I was just demoing, which is get back, rotate your hips to get your legs to turn, but I want your chest to keep facing this way as best you can. Your chest will rotate this way and then come back. We're looking for this twisting motion and then unraveling. So as you twist with your lower body this way, your chest is moving this way, and then as your lower body follows and tries to kick, we're rotating back this way. So essentially it's chest one way, once the legs follow, your chest goes back the other way. So it looks like this. Essentially what that's doing is teaching the separation of lower body to upper body. You're rotating and feeling what rotation causes your lower body to actually move. No, that's not what your golf swing is going to look like. Don't worry. It's teaching you feels. This feel of having your lower body move causing the jump versus, again, a jump causing the jump. We're causing rotating and using the ground by more forcefully turning the hips and pelvis. Okay, so now we've just gone through the 3 different drills. Now we take it back into the club with a dry driver swing. I want you to do the same jumping motion that we had on the first one, where you're jumping, turning, and giving a high five. But instead of giving a high five, you're just swinging. So here we go. I'll start real slow on this. Now, be careful, swing slow. We're not trying to swing super aggressive, we're trying to develop a feel. Go again. That is starting to utilize your legs correctly. And what this did for my student is bring them back to their days of athletics. They started feeling like an athlete in their golf swing. They understood what it meant to actually deliver the club and utilize your legs to rotate versus being a disconnect between their upper body, lower body, and front side. They had absolutely no feel. This brought feel back to their golf swing. From there, you can start to swing a little bit faster. I would be very careful while you are fully in the air with both legs of how fast you're actually swinging. So I would not max out completely, but you can start to feel how to get more power from just your legs. So instead of swinging faster with your arms in this case, let's use more of a rotational power to rotate more and see what it does to club speed. So the faster you rotate your hips, the more club speed that you can actually deliver to the ball with utilizing your legs correctly. Okay, once you've mastered that, now let's go to the drill 2, which is the half turn. So I want you to keep that same rotational feel that can bring you all the way over this way, but instead of turning 180 completely, all we're turning is about 90 degrees this way. The reason for that is now I want you to try to focus on getting the same speed and rotation that your body would need to go 180, but only go 90. Because ultimately in the golf swing, you're not jumping and turning at all. You're just utilizing the ground. So we want you to be able to utilize the ground as much as you possibly can now within the window of just going to here. Once you have done that, I want you now to bring it back to your normal golf swing. So no more jumping in that pattern, but I want you to still feel that when you're doing your swing, your goal should be to have these mini jumps. And you can sit there and practice with these mini jumps where your left leg comes out, your right leg goes forward just slightly so that you can know what it feels like to stay active in your legs. Ultimately, the golf swing and utilizing the ground is not a jump. It's you're creating so much force going down and up that's making you jump, as well as the rotational piece. A lot of people that miss the rotational piece, just like my student, they didn't have any rotational piece, so they couldn't utilize the ground because they were trying just to jump straight up, and that's when they lost everything. So let me show you the difference in these swings right now. Is one, when you miss that rotational piece and you just try to jump straight up, your swing is going to look like this utilizing the ground. It's 114 miles an hour versus actually trying to rotate faster, causing my legs to actually go up and move now would look like this. A lot more rotational force, almost spun myself out of it, but that's the difference between actually utilizing your hips correctly to utilize the ground and just trying to utilize the ground by going up. We do not like up, we like around. When you do have around correct, you end up going up slightly. So now we take it back to your normal swing again. Without feeling like you are actually jumping, we're just gonna keep that same feel of hips and see what your lower body creates. So now while I'm not just flailing out and jumping completely, I am utilizing that same principle and feel of this motion, without actually doing it. All I'm doing is locking out. So I have my left leg locking out a little bit more back, right leg locking out a little bit more forward because my hips are rotating hard and through the ball. So last piece of the pie is to actually bring it back into the ball now, doing that same dry swing, utilizing the ground, feeling that rotation without jumping to actually hit the ball. So when done correctly, it takes your swing from looking like this, where you're either floating your left side, or like this, where you're actually trying to jump straight vertically, to this, where you are actually utilizing the ground correctly by creating rotational speed and feeling like an athlete. So you can see right there that I gained speed just by utilizing the ground correctly, by utilizing my hips, and it felt so much better, and I actually started feeling like an athlete. This helped my student a ton to utilize their hips. I gained about 6 miles an hour actually utilizing my hips and utilizing the ground correctly in those swings, but my student gained almost 8 miles per hour in one single session doing this. This could be the missing piece that's going to help you to utilize the ground better. I hope this helps like it helped my student. Try the drill out. It may seem a little bit crazy, but once you start developing that feel, take it back into your golf club and it will carry you on the course to longer drives, lower scores, and it will be amazing. Guys, I appreciate all the love and support, and until next time, we'll see you later.